and Fulton coming to you on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. The Royals have now lost 7 in a row. It is not a victory Tuesday. In fact, now we've got even more questions potentially on what is going to happen for the Kansas City Royals. Not great news on the Vinny Pasquantino front. We will get to plenty of Royals talk. We'll talk a little Kansas City Chiefs as mandatory minicamp underway right now at the Chiefs camp. We will hear from Travis Kelce. We will hear from George Karlaftis. And if we've got time, the third string running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have time. Because, I mean, we got to hear from the third string running back. Like, why are you trotting him out there? Hey, why again did you skip the Super Bowl parade? Oh, yeah. Okay. So tell me, what do you think about getting like 3 touches a game? Ah, cool. What is it like not getting your 5th-year option? Like, what are we doing here? Anyways, we might hear from Clyde.
I didn't realize you just hated Clyde so much.
No, I don't hate Clyde so much.
Sounds like you do.
No, I hate that the Chiefs media team decided to have him be interviewed. Give us literally 10. I can name you 12 other people right now that I'd rather hear from Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Rattle them off right now.
Okay, we're already going to hear from Travis Kelce and George Karlaftis.
There's 2.
I would rather hear from Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie, Josh Williams, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, Drew Tranquil. I'd rather hear from, and we are going to hear from Chris Jones, I'm going to guess. I'd rather hear from Joe Tooney. I'd rather hear from Creed Humphrey. Give me Kadarius Toney. Who else? Because we've already heard from some of the rookies. I'd rather hear from Noah Gray. I'd rather hear from Justin Watson. I'd rather hear from safety Brian Cook. I'd rather hear from Isaiah Pacheco. Give me Jerick McKinnon. Like, give me almost anybody else than Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
To give Jake credit, he did rattle off 16 names.
All those people have a more important voice than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not like mad about it. I'm just.
It seems like you're a little mad about it.
No, I'm just confused. Like what?
Well, so I mean, who you pick to do media stuff? I'm not going to pretend I know what goes into that. I'll say this: I do think Clyde will probably be the third string running back. Who's to say the Chiefs, like when they see him through camp, they like obviously to never rarely use Jerick McKinnon, and Clyde's not your running back number 2 and does some good things. Like, I'm not saying it'll happen. I don't think it will. I honestly, to be brutally honest, I don't think Clyde's on this team at the end of August.
What?
He's getting traded.
What?
Ooh. A little early cheat. This is your July stuff, but I'll break it around. Yeah, no. I firmly believe the Chiefs are going to use. I believe the Chiefs are going to use training camp and preseason to showcase Clyde. Like, Pacheco's going to get barely any touches because they know what they have there. They're going to showcase Clyde and see who they can trade him to. If I had to put my money on something now, I don't think Clyde's on this team at the end of August.
All right.
Someone out there's going to want a running back, and I think Clyde's going to do just enough to make somebody go, we'll give you a 6th-round pick. And I'll be like, I'll take a 6th-round pick for a guy I'm not paying next year.
Sounds good. So we
Plus with Deneric Prince, how well he's playing.
Yeah.
So
lots to get to. Well, the Nuggets, congrats to the Nuggets winning their first ever NBA title. If you don't like Nikola Jokic,
you're wrong. You're factually wrong.
I just wonder what you like, you know?
I just wonder what's wrong with your head.
So we will hear from Nikola Jokic. We'll talk about the NBA Finals and everything.
Ugly game, but man, it was fun.
We will get to all of that. As always, let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Check us out on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and click on the Sports on 580. Very simple, easy. Head to our website, 580www.com. It is easy to get to. We will start with the game, I guess. And it's very simple last night. Very, very simple. The Royals led 3-0. Couldn't hold on to the lead and went 1 for 87 with runners in scoring position. That's the game.
We broke it down for you. Good job.
There's nothing else to do there. Greinke pitched well until the very, very end. It's kind of been Greinke's MO, where he pitches good for 5 innings, can't get through the 6th.
He's old now. He's a 5 and fly guy. I don't blame them for trying to squeeze some 6th inning out of him, but
doesn't really matter.
5 and fly, let him go.
But they just, I mentioned this. It's like Tommy Boy. When the Royals get a guy on on second or third, they become Tommy Boy, where he's like, I'm JoJo with my pretty little pet, and then I just screw up. Like, they want it so bad. It's like they're walking up to the girl that they have a crush on, and they end up just stammering and stuttering, and then just walking away, stammering and stuttering at themselves. Like, that is the Royals right now. They get so nervous that they just choke. There's no other explanation than that.
The best explanation for it surely is pressing.
They do.
To use the sports term, what's happening is they're pressing when runners get on base. They're feeling the pressure of. This is what happens when young teams are in skids like this. Every guy is trying to hit an 80-run home run every time they're up, and you just. At some point they'll stop because they did it earlier this year, and that's when the offense turned around. At some point they'll stop, but right now they're just stuck in every guy, or at least the guys that are you needing to come through are not doing it right mentally, which happens.
It's the end of the game, and they're bricking free throws. That is what is happening right now.
Oh, it is.
It's pretty simple. We've all been there.
They're the worst team in baseball, and they're showing it.
It is. The A's have won 7
in a row. The
A's
beat the Rays. They've won 6 in a row.
6 in a row.
And the A's beat the Rays last night.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That's not a phrase I thought I'd say this year.
Well, the A's beat they almost swept the Braves.
Fair. They beat the Rays.
The A's are now 3-1 against the A's against the Braves
and the Rays.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, baseball's stupid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sports stupid.
But I don't really care about the wins and losses. Doesn't really matter.
Would you like something positive from last night's game? Because I can give you one. I can actually give you a positive from last night's game based on your parameters of young guys.
Okay.
Bobby walked 3 times.
Okay. Cool.
Like, his next step to becoming what he needs to be is he's got to learn to be patient.
Correct.
And stop chasing everything under the sun.
Yes. Don't be Salvador Perez.
It's one game. That was his first walk in that first inning since May 17th. He hadn't walked in almost a month. Yeah. He walked 3 times last night. That, granted, that's really a stupid thing to grasp at straws here, but
that's what we do. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, that's how bad it is.
Speaking of Salvador Perez, he is awesome.
Yeah, game-tying home run was cool.
That was sweet. I've mentioned this. I want Salvador Perez to hit as many home runs as humanly possible, because if he gets to 300 home runs as a hitter, he'll make the Hall of Fame, I think. Because if you get to 300, that is rare air. There's only been 5 catchers who have ever done that.
Mm-hmm.
If you get to 307, I mean, you're on the likes of guys like Gary Carter, Ivan Rodriguez, aka Pudge.
Pudge.
They hit 307 and 314. He's at 236 now, I believe. So I want him to hit as many dingers as possible.
As long as the power ages.
Yep. But that's not what we're going to talk about right now. We're going to talk about trading Salvador Perez,
which has just divided the fan base.
And this is what has gone on. Okay. JJ Picollo speaks to the media every first day of a homestand. And yesterday against the Reds was the first day of the homestand. And there was some rumors out there from Ken Rosenthal, and we talked about this, about the Royals tagging Salvador Perez in a deal. And this is what JJ Picollo said yesterday. Quote, "We don't have any intention of trading Salvi. It's not something we're looking to do, but it doesn't mean teams won't ask about him. I will confirm the report was accurate, that the team called and asked about him, but unfortunately it was leaked. Those conversations should remain private. In this case, it didn't. The unfortunate thing is he's a player on our team. He's trying to lead our team. And to deal with trade rumor that was more inquisitive than anything, that's all it was made out, and it was more than what it should have done. So right now, they are not actively trying to trade Salvador Perez. They are not. It says here from JJ Piccolo. He's not surprised. Sal's reaction. He's a good player. He knows teams are going to ask about him. I think we have to keep that in mind, that he's got a full no trade rights. He completely controls his own destiny. He has told us over and over he wants to be a Royal his whole career. So that's what JJ said. Of course, Salvador Perez, it's home run. He's going to talk to the media. So he spoke to the media after the loss. Salvador Perez said this, quote, "You know how much I love Kansas City. And we talked. JJ came to me in Miami. Everybody knows that I love Kansas City, that I want to stay here for the rest of my career, but it's a business too. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know tomorrow I'm going to be here and I'm going to play hard. When Dayton was here, he taught me to play hard every day, so I don't have to worry about things out of my control. The only thing I can control is coming tomorrow, try to do my best to win a game." So that is the latest on Salvador Perez. Now, it comes down to this. Trades are so simple, okay? They really, really are on how you evaluate them. What is the value of Salvador Perez? Is Salvador Perez more valuable on this team, okay, as a leader, as a guy who the fans like, who will be he's the face of the franchise. He's one of the captains, right? Or is he more valuable to this team to trade him and you get somebody in return? Okay. Let's say we're going to explore that trade option. It is very, very simple. What can you get for Salvador Perez? If this is, to me, this is how I look at it. If you can get someone who can be on the team and make an impact the next time that the Royals are competitive, then you do it. And that is a gamble, because we don't know the next time that this Royals team is going to be competitive. You are shooting. You are hoping. You don't know when the next time the Royals team is going to be competitive. But also, you don't know who you're going to get in return. His salary is $20 million.
Yep.
Okay. The only way you are going to get someone who is a good player, regardless of whether or not you think the Royals are going to be competitive, just simply Salvador Perez, $20 million. What can that bring? Well, if you are trading Salvador Perez and his contract, you are going to get someone like Edward Olivares. You're going to get a guy who's not exactly a minor leaguer, but you're not going to get a guy who is going to be an impact guy, because no one is going to want to pay Salvador Perez $20 million for the next 3 years, and you don't know what's going to happen. That's what you're going to get. You're not going to get a Dela Cruz. You're not going to get that, okay? You're going to get somebody who is a fringe guy who can play in the majors, but he's not going to be a difference maker, in my opinion. Now, the other way you can do this is you say to the team, hey, we'll trade you Salvador Perez. We will pay $15 million of that contract, as the Royals will. So you will get Salvador Perez, and all it will cost you is $5 million. But we want a better player. We want a better player. Now, I look at that as you are paying for a prospect. That's what that is. It is a salary dump, but you are also, or excuse me, it's not a salary dump. Just trading Salvador Perez for an Edward Olivares, that's a salary dump. And I will be irate if that happens. The only way The only way, if we are talking about this Royals team being more transactional, doing that is if the Royals eat $15 million of this salary and send Salvador Perez to somebody, and you get back a top 5 prospect. Okay?
Yeah.
And then that top 5 prospect has to be good and has to be on the next winning team. Because if you trade Salvador Perez and his contract and you just get an Edward Olivares, you don't do it. Do you trade Salvador Perez, eat the money for a better prospect? Only if that guy is an impact guy the next time they win next time they're competitive.
Here's the thing with Salvador Perez trade, and I've thought about this because I keep seeing everyone on either side of it. I've seen people say you don't trade him at all. That's a stupid idea. You get rid of him. You alienate whatever fans you have left. Then I've seen some people that say JJ saying they won't trade Salvi is the stupidest thing ever, and they should be actively trying to shop him. Here's the thing about Salvador Perez. He is a 33-year-old catcher who has the second highest salary for a catcher in baseball. Only one catcher makes more money than him, and that's JT Realmuto. Every other catcher in baseball makes less money than Salvador Perez. What is going right for Salvador Perez is devoid of clarifiers. He is a good hitter. The problem is he's 33. The problem is he's a 33-year-old catcher. The problem is he's a 33-year-old catcher with $54 million owed to him for 3 years. The only universe where the Royals get a return that is in any way useful to the value he provides to you being on your club and the fact that you alienate half your fan base by shipping him out. Half your fans come just because he's there, they can watch him play baseball.
Correct.
The only way you do that, and I'll pass on some credit for this thought to Rainey Gisarelli, a good old friend of the program. You have to pay $40 million of that $54 million left.
At least
$40 million of it. If John Sherman's willing to eat $40 million, you could get you could probably get something real nice for a team. Basically, say, "Oh, I got to barely play anything for a pretty good 33-year-old plus catcher. His power seems to be aging. I'll do that." Unless you eat $40 million, at least, you're not getting what you want. And that's why I say, unless someone comes to John Sherman and JJ Piccolo and says, "Hey, you see that guy over there that's like a top 30 in all of baseball, top 2 in my system player? If you pay $40 million of that contract of Sal's, I'll give him to you." Unless someone comes to them with that, it's just not worth it. There are so many.
Spend that $40 million on a starting pitcher.
They're so, and that's my overall point with it too. If we're talking about eating $40 million, if John Sherman's going to eat $40 million, guys, I would rather just keep my catcher on my team, who everyone loves, who's aging gracefully, who is a reason people come to this ballpark, and spend that $40 million to make my team better with my guy on the team.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to be a free agent. I'm sure you have an idea of who's going to be a free agent pitcher.
Yeah.
You offer that to that character.
Yeah, there are guys you could do and things you could try and do, and just the entire discourse around the Sal trade, the frustration to me is it's hard to value players in your own system. It's really hard because you value them more than anyone else probably ever will. Salvador Perez, at his age and his positional value with his contract, will not get you what you want. It's, to be honest, it's the same reason I say don't trade Zach Greinke. You're not getting anything. And I know it's a little different based on years left and other factors. I understand that. I do. But it's a similar principle in, do you keep a guy around who wants to be here, can offer things outside of on-the-field product, and some people legitimately want to see, or do you just go get a fringe guy for nothing?
I think
that's what you're doing with both those players.
If you can get a lottery ticket for Zach, you do it. Because
people come to watch Zach pitch, and Zach wants to be in Kansas City.
The people who come are just going for anybody who goes to the ballpark right now is just because they want to go to the ballpark.
And that's fair. That's fair.
So, but yeah, I don't
see it unless someone's offering a deal that I don't know existing. I don't do it.
Would Salvador Perez do it?
That's the other thing too. Sal's a full no trade clause. He can just say, screw it, I don't want to leave.
But he also kind of said he'd be willing. He goes, but it's also a business. Salvador Perez could squash this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or today.
And just say he's not approving anything ever.
Say, I'm not going to approve any trade.
And then it's okay.
And then we're done. So if Salvador Perez truly wants this to end, he can do it.
Yeah.
He can do it. Coming up next, we got a date for the docu-series we've all been waiting for. We'll get to that next. Oh, I'm so excited for this. I'm even more excited for this than Full Swing, the golf documentary. But this is what kind of Netflix is doing right now. Everybody remembers F1 and the docuseries that Netflix did with Formula One. They did that with golf. Well, they're doing that with the NFL. We've known about this for a while, but we didn't really know kind of when. But the trailer for the docu-series on Netflix called Quarterback is coming out tomorrow. We know that there are 3 quarterbacks who are going to be on the show. They are Kirk Cousins, they are Marcus Mariota, and they are Patrick Mahomes. I am so interested in the footage that Mahomes has. Is this going to be just a Mahomes episode? Is it like 3 episodes? One is Kirky, one is Mariota, and one is Mahomes. I have no idea. Is it all going to be intertwined? But I want to know what kind of access Mahomes gave him, because he's normally a kind of a private person. And these docuseries have been pretty good.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued too.
Especially if you are like, we might not think it's very interesting because we know everything about Mahomes, because we are engrossed in 15. Yeah. So, but the trailer will be tomorrow. I'm just so interested, you know, as the person with his 2 kids, all that kind of stuff. I'm a big documentary guy. I love documentaries, especially the sports side. Have you seen the American Gladiators one?
Not yet.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Childhood memories. Coming up next, though, Dan Lucero will join us to talk some Nuggets. The Chiefs audio and some Chiefs minicamp news. We'll hear from Travis Kelce and we'll hear from George Karlaftis. But right now, I had to give him a breathalyzer to make sure that he wasn't still partying, because he should be. And we bring in Dan Lucero, who is the super fan of the Denver Nuggets, as they won their first ever NBA title in 48 years.
47 years in the NBA, 56 years as a franchise, going back to the birth of the ABA. Fun little story. The ABA originally wanted to put a team in Kansas City. Ownership group fell through, and they moved it to Denver.
And the Nuggets,
connections.
Yeah. And the Nuggets win it all in a defensive battle, if you will. But Dan, first of all, congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
It feels real good.
And I've asked you this before. I think it was maybe at the start of this year, I said, what would you rather have, a Rockies World Series or a Nuggets NBA Finals,
Mhm.
and you told me Nuggets, I would have lost all my money.
You would have.
All of my money.
You were strongly thinking Dan would pick a Rockies World Series.
You probably were thinking that too.
Well, the more I've learned about Dan, the more I've realized how much he loves the Nuggets.
And so that's why I'm pumped.
Baseball's my favorite sport, but the Nuggets were first. Like that was sort of the gateway drug into sports fandom for me. Like the first thing, the first sports thing that I cared about. I mean, my parents have the stories. I would go to bed early to listen to Nuggets games on the radio. I named the family cat after former Nuggets coach Doug Moe when I was like 3.5 years old. I went to my first game when I was 4. My dad took me to old McNichols Arena to see a game. So like when I was anytime it was like arts and crafts or like story time or whatever in school, like in preschool or kindergarten or whatever, it was always me on the Denver Nuggets, me drawing the Skyline uniforms. Like that was the first. That was the gateway drug for a life of sports fandom. So that's why it means a little more.
Here's what I think about this Nuggets team. One, I was cheering hard for the Nuggets. One, I want my friends to be happy. And two, this Nugget team reminds me so much of the 2014-15 Royals in the fact that they're so much fun. Like they just had fun. Like they have, the Royals never had the best player for the last 3 years on their team. You know, even Jamal Murray is probably a better player than anybody that the Royals had, to be honest with you. I'm not talking about them as a basketball X's and O's and individuals, but I'm talking about they seem to just have fun. The guys on the team have fun. They got a coach who reminds me a lot of Ned Yost, to be honest with you. Everybody wanted Dan Lucero included, Mike Malone out of there.
Yeah, you can search me on Twitter and the word Malone, and there were some very nice, flattering things I said about him. But
that's the same thing about Ned.
Yeah.
Like there were so many people who hated Ned Yost, but Ned got the guys. They understood him.
You can't imagine anybody else managing that Royals team to that level of success.
And that's what it feels like. It felt like that Nuggets team, from an outsider's perspective, just seems so much fun.
No knuckleheads. Like it's usually you get a team and you got some knuckleheads, right? Like they were as egoless as it is possible to be in major sports, which is to say everybody's got egos, but championship teams have a way, and this is true across all sports, of setting that ego aside and making the sacrifices you need to make to be who your team needs you to be. And this Nuggets team is full of guys who made those sacrifices, whether it's Michael Porter Jr., completely lost his jump shot. The thing that got him to the league, the thing that you felt like you could count on above anything else with him. And he gives you 16 and 13 in a closeout finals game, just willing himself to do whatever it took to win. Or Aaron Gordon, former top 5 pick in the NBA draft, becoming
a role player,
the perfect role player.
Yeah.
And it's about that subversion of ego. It's about having good teammates. That's the thing too, is, and again, this is the other thing that I think is true across all sports and true across all great teams. You can apply it to any great team you've ever seen. Is, do you have great teammates? Do you have guys who are okay not being the star, not playing 150 games or 30 minutes a night or whatever it might be every snap, that are okay with whatever their role is? If it's to be the best practice player you can be, then you be that. If it's to be ready when your number's called, maybe it'll be one time in a week, maybe it'll be never. You're ready for that. You accept your role. You accept what your responsibility on the team is. And the Nuggets were full of guys like that. And it was a really fun team to root for. And you feel happy for all of them that they all got that moment last night, because they all earned it.
In other sports, like in baseball, like I forget the Astros. Like who did the Astros even play in the World Series last year? Who did they play?
Philly.
Yeah, whatever. Philly. No, whatever. Like the NBA, a couple years ago, like I didn't like, oh yeah, go Raptors, or you're watching the Warriors, or no one ever said, oh wow, the Patriots look like they're having a blast out there. Like no one ever said that. Like that's why, to me, like this Nugget team just seemed fun, and that's why I wanted them to win. Because they play fun basketball. They're for about a 3-minute stretch in that game. That looked like an AAU basketball game. It was breakneck, wild, crazy. So
I cannot tell you how many times last night I yelled, "Oh my God!"
No, see, that's my next question. That's
pure frustration.
That's my next question. Whenever your team is in a title game, you should have somebody with you who is not a diehard fan capture it. My wife captured like my entire roller coaster of emotion for the Super Bowl, Mahomes' ankle, your reaction at halftime when it was coming back and everything. Like, she's got video of all of that.
No, my wife took video of the final seconds last night.
And she's not a diehard Nuggets fan, but she wants you to win. So I would love to know when did you lose your mind when you thought, oh crap, we're not going to win this?
I never felt. And that's the thing about this team. I mean, when they went 16-4 in the playoffs, and their most lopsided loss was 8 points. I think the last team to go through an NBA playoffs and not lose a game by double figures was the 1999 Spurs. Like, it's been a while. So after a point, and this started to happen in the Lakers series, the Western Conference Finals. But you get to the point with a team where when you fully believe that they're good, and like Chiefs fans, you're in this right now. And I've got a whole bunch more analogies like we're going to get to today, a little teaser alert on 580 Sports Talk. It's funny you compared these Nuggets to the mid-2010s Royals. I think they're a really good analog for the Chiefs right now. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on 580 Sports Talk. It's only minorly self-indulgent. Like sports like politics.
Only a little bit.
Sports like politics is local. And it's only a little bit
No, I get your point.
But yeah, to your point, like,
yeah. You got the best player in the game. You got the best player in the game. I get it. I get it.
To a point where you don't really feel like, well, you feel like, hey, we could turn this around. Like the Nuggets were down 7 at halftime, despite going 1 for 15 from the 3-point and 3 for 8 at the free throw line. And they did not shoot a whole lot better, appreciably better in the second half. But yeah, I never felt like, oh, this is just not their night. Oh, it's not going to happen. It was, hey, they're close. They're hanging in. Just got to hang around. And when you get to the fourth quarter, we've got the best player on the floor. He'll figure out a way to make it work. Very, very similar to the Chiefs.
I was going to say, I know that feeling deeply at this point of like, we're fine.
Yeah.
So that's
so is Jamal Murray like Travis Kelce then?
Yes.
Actually, yeah. I don't want you to go too deep into this because for your show.
Or is he more like Chris Jones?
No, he's Kelce.
No, Jamal's Kelce.
He's the perfect complement to the outlier. Like you have the outlier, and then you have
who's Chris Jones?
Who's Chris Jones? That's a good
question.
Or
is Aaron Gordon Kelce?
No, Aaron Gordon's not Kelce. Jamal's Kelce. Aaron, who
is he? Pacheco?
Who is Chris Jones? That's a good question. Maybe it might be Bruce Brown. It might be Cowboy Bruce.
Maybe they don't have one.
Cowboy Bruce. Don't have one.
Either way, when did you go, oh my gosh, this is happening?
It was probably it was the KCP steal, and he made both free throws, and then they got the stop, and Brown rebounded, went the other way to the free throw line.
Jimmy Butler went hero ball.
And then it was the miss, and my wife has it all on video, and none of you are ever going to see it because my voice went up like 20 octaves.
We're gonna need to see
when I realized that they weren't going to foul, and I yelled, "They're not going to foul."
You do realize that I have an easy way of getting this video.
Yeah, I know you got back channels.
Okay, my wife knows your wife.
Yes,
very easily.
Yes,
and I'll be like, Lindsay, come on, and she'll sweet talk your wife, and my wife will be like, hey, Abby, let's go get margaritas. There you go.
I lost it, man. There were tears. I waited a long time for this.
Awesome.
It was really, really cool, and it was everything part of me would have loved it if they had won by like 30 and had shot the lights out and put up a masterclass. But it was a lot more rewarding I mean, to win what ended up kind of being like a knife fight in the mud.
No, you want it like that. I remember watching the Washburn women's basketball team in 2005. These are my friends, right?
Right.
Like we're going to college together. For 3 years, right? 03, 04, 05. I know all of these people. And they won the national championship by 21 points. It wasn't climactic at all. Like at the end of the game, there was like a little hooping and hollering, but they blew it out. And I was like, oh, I remember watching it. because it was during spring break. I remember watching it, and I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like there was no anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
No, I
Whereas,
understand.
like,
Yeah, there's
that's
not
so
that.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's
no,
awesome.
there's it was like letting a lot of air out of the balloon, and yeah, a lot of fun. I still I might make my wife rewatch the game tonight, at least the fourth quarter.
Can you make the parade?
No, I got to fly. I'm going on vacation this week and flying to.
When are you flying?
Like at night.
No. Like what day?
Thursday.
Oh yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I can't.
He's
I can't
flying.
do it.
Yeah, flying the day of the parade.
Hey.
But you and Nikola Jokic both going Thursday.
Yeah, I can't do it. When is parade? Thursday. No.
Yeah.
If anybody can make somebody on the fly move up their parade date, it might be Nikola Jokic.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we're going to go now to the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Do we have to?
Yes, we do.
The Royals, I would watch them.
Why?
Why? On like days the Nuggets had playoff games, I would watch the Royals game before I got to the pregame coverage. I had to take the edge off, man.
They're gonna be like,
Yeah.
Comedic. It was comedic.
That's
You're
fair. Not comedic. Just like I needed.
It's comedic.
I
buddy.
needed like the lowest possible stakes. I needed something with absolutely no stakes.
There's
right.
stakes for some of us.
So we had Matt Lamar of Royals Review on yesterday.
Yep.
Is that the same website that posted a "Can I root for another team"
Yes.
article?
Rose View, who have brought you such great things as "Can I root for somebody else?" This is going pretty bad, and the occasional entertaining pieces.
Yeah. We had Matt on, and I ask every Royals person, what are the odds that the Royals lose 100 games? Because this is Fulton's graph that he's going to put together. You are a part of this.
It's the only thing that's making this bearable.
One to ever go above 50 or to go 50%. Okay.
Dan was first.
Then we had on, oh gosh, who said 62%? Do you remember?
By my calculations, no one that I've heard has gotten to 62.
We had someone go over 50%.
That might have been while I was on vacation, sir.
No, it was.
So I don't have the data.
So it was 62%. I'll have to go back and look.
Let's see who was here on Tuesday.
And then Matt Lamar said 75%.
Yeah, Matt has set our new high water mark of 75% yesterday.
So I asked you, Dan Lucero, what are the odds? What was his previous number? 50, right?
50%.
50%.
Dead 50.
So you were at 50. What are the odds the Royals lose 100 games?
I'm at 80% now.
That's fair, buddy.
80%. My last number.
My number's going to get revealed here in the 2 o'clock hour, and it might shock some people.
My number was 49.2.
Very precise.
Was that you last week?
Yes. That was
okay, I can add you to the chart.
Oh no! Last week, because we didn't do it because you weren't here.
Okay, then your last mark was 40% on the 30th.
Oh, then it was 49.2%.
Okay,
that was my last number, 49.2%. Because I didn't want to say it was gonna happen more so than not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I went 49.2%. So you're at 80%.
Yeah.
Okay. Does Salvador Perez get traded?
No. John Sherman can't do that and then turn around and ask the people of Kansas City for $1 billion for a new stadium. Like, he can't.
He's so many things he can't do.
He can't. He can't.
He's not wrong.
Do you think JJ Piccolo asked John Sherman, "Can I trade Salvador Perez?" And Sherman's reaction was an emoji or a GIF or a middle finger?
It might have been you bleeping kidding me.
Like, look, man, it might be like you could make, I think, a convincing argument that for baseball reasons, it's the thing to do because you're so bereft of minor league talent right now.
Get anything for him?
That's not true. He gets something.
It depends on if you pay the contract.
Yeah, you gotta slather some barbecue sauce on some of that contract and eat it. But the more you're willing to eat, the more you can get in return.
Then why don't you just buy a pitcher with that money?
It's a good question.
If it's good,
that's a good question.
That's
the question we need to be asking John Sherman. None of this trade stuff. Like, hey, why is it that you're only willing to outlay if you're going to go spend money on a free agent pitcher? Why is it Jordan Lyles? Why is it 2 years, $17 million for Jordan Lyles when
you'll eat $40 million of Salvador Perez's contract over the next 3 years
to
get a prospect?
It would be unforgivable. And take it from somebody who's a fan of a baseball team who did something unforgivable to their fans.
That's true.
And traded maybe one of the best players in their franchise's history for a bag of magic beans and kicked in money for the privilege, there are people in Colorado who will never forgive the Colorado Rockies for the Nolan Arenado trade. Will never forgive them. They've lost. They've lost a generation. Like, you can't risk doing that if you're the Royals. Your on-field play already runs a very high risk of doing that. You cannot do something that is so antagonistic to take the player who is the constant. Like, that's the thread. The pre-championship years, the championship years. This is a guy who they're going to have to separate the 10 and the 20 at Kauffman Stadium to put a 13 there one of these days.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. His number's up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the guy. You don't trade that guy. You do not trade that guy while he is still, like, it would be different if he was 37 and last year of his contract. And, we're giving the Ray Bork treatment. We're going to send him, lots of Colorado sports analogies today. I apologize.
There's a ton.
We're giving him the Ray Bork treatment. We're going to send him to a contender, give him one last shot at a ring. Like, that's what we're doing
He's already
here.
got the ring.
Right. But, like, if it was the last year of his contract and you wanted to do him
and he's not hitting game-tying home runs.
Right, and you want to do him a favor and you can help rebuild your roster in that way, I think fans are a little more amenable to that.
But
Salvador Perez still has some good years left.
But aren't the Royals supposed to be more transactional?
That's the baseball argument, right?
Well, and here's my thing. And this is, I think, the thing that I've been having to battles with a lot of Royals people. There's being transactional and there's being intelligent. Being transactional is not about, I'm going to throw every player at the wall and just start, dealing cards out.
You don't just trade to make a trade.
Yes, you don't trade to make a trade. Like, if the Royals are trading I've said this before, they need to trade their infielders. They have a glut of infielding talent at the big league level and at the minor league level. Why no one has seriously started bringing up why Maikel Garcia might not get traded, I don't know. And I love Maikel, and I think he has a lot of value. But there is a team who could see, wow, that could be one of the best defenders at shortstop in the entire league. Good bat-to-ball skills, good speed, a little bit of pop. You don't think, and with 6 years of club control, you don't think anyone's going, oh, I'm willing to shell out a lot to get that.
Okay.
You don't think you could call the Dodgers, who might need some shortstop help and get everything for that? That's what I don't get with the transactional part.
All righty, 2 for the road here, Dan.
All right.
Very simple, very easy. Who is ahead of Nikola Jokic as big men in NBA history?
Will.
Okay.
Kareem.
Okay.
Russell.
Yep.
Shaq.
Yep.
Duncan.
Yep.
That's it.
Hakeem?
It's hard to even compare Jokic to the big guys I just mentioned because he's just a completely unique player.
But he's considered, that's why I didn't say a center. I just said big guy.
Mm-hmm. No, I think he's probably on even footing with Hakeem. He's past David Robinson. I agree with that. Zoomed past Ewing. And nobody else.
Yeah.
He's past Dirk. Like, nobody else in the conversation. Like, yeah, it's just like Wilt and Kareem because
I don't consider Dirk a big guy.
Oh, fair enough.
Dirk to me is a wing.
Tall guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd still take,
but no, he's
now Hakeem over Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the next one he leaps to me.
He's ahead of Joel Embiid. I don't know that damn much.
Nice.
Well,
agreed.
Hey,
sorry.
And I love Joe.
You ready for this? Honestly, he should, like, Jokic should be humbled because, hey, you got the LeBron and the Jordan treatment.
You're going to hit with that voter fatigue, baby.
Jordan should have 9 MVPs.
You're right.
He should have 9 MVPs. LeBron should have like 10 MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
But
voter fatigue, the stupidest thing in sports.
It's the dumbest thing.
Jokic wins like one more title, one more MVP. Like, I think you can start to make an argument he's a top five big man of all time. He's a top 25 player of all time as of right now, and it looks even more ridiculous that the NBA, not this year but last year, put out a top 75 players for their 75th anniversary and then expanded it to 76, and Anthony Davis is on that list.
Yeah,
and Jokic is not.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's bad.
It's really stupid.
Yeah. If he gets one more MVP and one more title, that's 3 and 2. Now
that's even more rarefied air.
You zoom past Hakeem then. And then it comes, I mean, if you think about those 5 guys, like Wilt's on there not because of his team accomplishments, but because he was a damn unicorn.
Right.
That's an impressive list.
Yeah.
That's
when we're talking about him in the same breath now, which is pretty special.
Well, Dan, go buy more merchandise, okay? Oh, that was my last question, real quick. How much money have you spent on championship gear?
We're coming up on $300, and
right.
there will be more. There will be more.
Well worth it.
Good job.
Coming up next, we will go into why Jokic is just a hilarious individual. We'll get to some audio from last night here on Mic'd Up. Jake and Fulton coming to you on a Tuesday. Jake and Fulton with you. We're going to hear from Travis Kelce and from George Karlaftis coming up. We'll hear from Travis Kelce coming up at the bottom of the hour. George Karlaftis in the 2 o'clock hour here on Mic'd Up. As always, let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Give us your opinion on the Chiefs and mandatory minicamp and no Chris Jones. How big of a deal is that? And that's what we're going to get to here in just a little bit. We got Everyone Loves the List in light of the NBA championship and the NBA finals. We are going to go with the best players that you wanted them to win a title. All right. Very simple. Best players that you wanted to win. I hated Karl Malone. I hated John Stockton. You could argue they're two of the top 3 or 4 players to have never won a title.
Yeah.
Right?
But you don't like them.
But I don't like him.
So you don't want them to win.
I didn't want him to win.
Yeah, John Stockton to this day gives us more and more reasons to never like him.
I just didn't like the way I just didn't like him. One, because I was a Jordan guy.
Yeah.
Didn't like him. I mean, they honestly are two of the best players to never win a title. And that gives me happiness. So we will get to that here in just a little bit. But we are going to get to the latest news for the Kansas City Chiefs. Here are the players who are not in attendance. Chris Jones, Tershawn Wharton, but he's got an ACL. Tight end Blake Bell, running back Jerick McKinnon, running back Isaiah Pacheco. He also had offseason surgery. Offensive lineman Trey Smith. They were not in attendance. Day one. Mike Edwards, Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, otherwise known as your starting secondary, were present but without helmets. So they are nursing some injuries. So if you take out Tershawn Wharton and you take out Pacheco because they're hurt, need to be there, technically. Here are the people that are healthy that we know of that were not there, that they did not see. Chris Jones, Blake Bell, Jerick McKinnon, and Trey Smith. Now, they might be there tomorrow. They might be there on Thursday. We'll have to wait and see. We will not hear from Andy Reid until Thursday at about 1 o'clock. All of these could be excused. Every single one of them. They could be excused. And we won't know that until Andy Reid brings it up. And Andy Reid will get asked if all of these guys are not there the next 2 days. I'd imagine if Blake Bell or Trey Smith or Jerick McKinnon are there tomorrow, it was just one day, they would be excused. But come Thursday, if all of these guys are not there the entire time, then they will be asked, why wasn't Trey Smith there? Why wasn't Jerick McKinnon there? Why wasn't tight end Blake Bell there? Why wasn't Chris Jones there? Now, Chris Jones is a little different. Reason being, he has missed all of the team's OTAs. All right? That makes it a little bit different. He's also in the final year of his 4-year contract extension. He can't hold out because he's already under contract. So that makes this holdout type of situation to me a little bit unique, you know?
Yeah.
Danielle Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings is holding out. He's not going to mandatory minicamp because of his contract situation. It's just a contract negotiation tactic, if you will, but both of them are under contract. They're not like franchise tag where, hey, you don't have to sign the franchise tag. You don't have to show up. You're technically not part of the team, right? So Chris Jones is going to play this year, but it is interesting that is this a contract tactic or what is the specific reason for this? We live in a what have you done for me lately society, and because it is a Tuesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock when we'd actually find out any information from Andy Reid, that's 72 hours from right now. Got to wait all the rest of today and then Wednesday and then half of Thursday. So people are going to freak out over the next 48 hours. So I don't know if it is a huge deal right now that he doesn't show up. Now, if it is excused, and maybe Andy Reid will say, Chris, don't worry about coming to mandatory minicamp. It's all good. Whatever Andy Reid decides is what's going to happen. This isn't a Brett Veach decision. If Chris Jones said to Andy Reid, hey, man, I'm just not going to come to training camp because of my contract and all that. And Andy Reid's like, Chris, don't worry about it, man. We're not going to fine you. Just, it'll be excused. Okay. We don't know yet because Chris Jones really hasn't said a whole lot. Okay. Outside of him wanting the Chiefs to sign Frank Clark. If they do make these unexcused, where the only reason you weren't there is because
you didn't want to be here
because of contract stuff, which is basically it.
Yeah.
Most franchises, if you say, hey, something came up, my grandma's sick, something, they'll make it excused. You know the date of the camp, all right? You don't schedule your vacation during mandatory minicamp. That probably wouldn't fly. Besides, once mandatory minicamp is done, the players are off. They have nothing connected with the NFL.
Yeah, until like the end of July.
Till July 22nd, when rookies and quarterbacks report, and July 24th, I believe July 24th is report day for training camp for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I believe you're right.
I think that is let's see here. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs report on, is that 2023 or is that what year is this? I think they report on the 29th. Can we get an actual date? What's the deal here? NFL Communications, but it doesn't say the year on it. Is it? I'm assuming this year. You never know. It is amazing how terrible the NFL is at sometimes communicating.
Oh, they're horrible.
Is this the year 2023?
Technically, should be.
I don't think it is.
The 29th would be a Saturday leading into the first week of August. That's why I assume like the 24th would be that Monday of the last full week of July. That's what makes the most sense.
Let's see here. I think that is the date. 22nd for rookies and 24th for everybody. So they're off, for a month. And then phase 3 is over. So the next time you'll hear from Andy Reid will be the opening day of training camp. So for a month, Andy Reid goes off to Southern California, draws up plays on a napkin.
Probably legitimately what he does.
I'm going to assume that Blake Bell and Trey Smith are going to have excused absences. We know Pacheco and we know all the guys who are hurt because they're hurt. It comes down to then Jerick McKinnon probably the same way. No, Jerick McKinnon has no reason to lose out on money. Now, Chris Jones, you get what do you call it? You get fined $100,000 if you miss all 3 days.
Yeah, you lose about that much money.
He probably doesn't care. Which reason number 540 that they live in a completely different world.
Yeah, that they can be like, oh, $100,000 chump change.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, $100,000 for me to me showing up to training camp, not worth my time. It's more of a negotiating tactic. I'm not too worried about that. So that's kind of insane when you really think about it. But is it really when you are very well going to make another 60 million guaranteed in maybe 3 weeks?
No.
Like, if you think about
It's
it,
a little different.
he got a $60 million guaranteed contract 4 years ago. He could get another $60 million contract right now.
Very much could.
So in his career, he could make over $120 million guaranteed. Do you think Chris Jones is worried about $100,000?
No.
So I don't fancy seeing Chris Jones at any of the days of camp. I really, really don't. And I'm not too worried about it either.
No.
I'm not too worried about it.
No.
If you're worried about Chris Jones right now and the Kansas City Chiefs, wait until something substantially comes about. I'm really not.
Yeah.
I think that this mandatory minicamp is pretty non-interesting if you are the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
We talked about it yesterday with Matt Derrick. There's not a lot of spots available. We know kind of who the starters are going to be. This is a lot for the rookies and still for the quarterbacks and everything. That to me is what this mandatory minicamp is for.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world on an overall standpoint that Chris isn't there. It's more just a level of making sure it's not a sign of a larger problem, which I don't think it is. Like, it's just, and again, we won't know the actual reason until Andy speaks on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
There's an entire chance that it was just like, oh, Chris told me that he was having a minor off-season procedure, and it just lined up this week and he isn't playing, or he had it, a week or two ago and still isn't feeling right, or Chris for some reason had some family stuff he was dealing with. Like, there's a million of reasons that Chris couldn't be there that we don't know until Thursday. And if it is just Chris didn't want to be here, well, okay.
I'm on team pay whatever he wants.
Yeah, I'm on team the guy needs to get paid, and he will get paid. And if he doesn't want to show up right now as a standard common negotiating tactic, I don't think it's going to hurt Chris Jones at all for this upcoming season that he wasn't here for 3 days.
You are either fully on the don't pay Chris Jones because you don't pay anybody over 30 years old, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So trade him. I am on team give him whatever the hell he wants because you don't have anybody else that good.
Oh, yeah. No. As I've always said, he is the Mahomes of your defense.
Yeah. He'll be 29.
Yeah.
29, 30.
4-year contract, $100 million.
Then after that.
Then we can have discussions about, paying a guy who's going at like 32, 33.
Yes. Then we
can have that conversation.
But to me,
as of now, we good.
This is a no-brainer.
We good, man.
An absolute no-brainer. Unlike what's happening in Buffalo right now.
Yeah, that's just weird.
So here's the thing. We're going to get this all figured out probably by tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
Because what's going on is the first reports were Stephon Diggs was not there for mandatory minicamp. And Greg McDermott today said that he's very concerned. Well, then it turns out that he actually is in Buffalo, was yesterday, and is today doing medicals. Well, if he's in Buffalo and he met with Greg McDermott, why is Greg McDermott worried? No idea. Another aspect of it, this is not money related. He's making a bunch of money, $24 million guaranteed this upcoming year. He can't hold out. The Bills can't do anything with it.
No.
So what the heck is this? Just he's being a drama queen?
Yes.
Like you never want to go full Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's going full Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And his head, maybe the head coach, Greg McDermott, said it and he was joking. Oh, we're real concerned here that he didn't show up. I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm not surprised
Stephon Diggs might be having a little bit of a Stephon Diggs moment.
You ready for this? Right now, the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals, I don't want them to win a title.
Yeah.
Because right now they're bothering me. Like, what are you doing, Stephon Diggs? Come on. Like, you're there, you're not there.
Well, then you should be loving this. It's maybe seeding some dysfunction across
no,
Buffalo.
because then what happens is I just don't want them to win one, because if they win one, then I'm so happy. It's like I will not feel like I do for the Nuggets right now.
Yeah.
If the Bills or the Bengals ever win a Super Bowl. If the Bills and Bengals are in the Super Bowl and they are playing somebody, I want that other team to win very, very badly.
Okay. I'm not going to hate on you for that belief.
Well, you shouldn't. I don't want them to win a title.
Okay. That's okay.
Because right now they're bugging me.
That's okay. What have the Bengals done to bug you?
They're arrogant, and they're arrogant without even winning anything. You've won an AFC title game. Awesome.
I think there are players on their team that do that. I don't think the culture of the team is that way. I know we're splitting hairs with that, but this is a business splitting hairs.
More so maybe the Bengals than the Bills. But if you're just doing drama queen, I hate drama. I can't stand drama.
That's fair.
Like, that's why I kind of like Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen more than Joe Burrow. Yeah.
That one makes no sense to me, brother.
Yeah. I'm a Josh Allen guy over a Joe Burrow guy.
Okay. That's fine.
I like Stephon Diggs, but this will all get figured out within the next day. But the Chiefs, we're in good shape. I wouldn't worry about Chris Jones. That little guy, I wouldn't worry about that little guy. Yeah.
Fun Christian's the little guy is very funny.
Yep. From the text line, amen, Jake. One reason to root for the Cowboys. Yeah.
No, I hope Dallas never wins a championship.
No, I'd want them to win one over the Bills or
absolutely not.
Or
the Dallas Cowboys never win anything in their entire lives. You want to name me a more annoying fan base in the NFL than Dallas Cowboys fans? Not to any of our Cowboys fans on the text line. Going to clarify that right now. Not calling you out. Any one of you I've interacted with, lovely people. As a general broad sense, though, I've interacted with more negative than good Cowboys fans. But shout out to all the good Cowboys fans I interacted with. You're good people.
Coming up next, we are going with Everyone Loves the List. Today, our list topic, the players we wanted to see win an NBA title. loves the list. Players we wanted to see win an NBA title.
Yep.
That never did.
Simple, easy, pretty simple. Number 4 for me, Steve Nash. I like Steve Nash.
Yeah, okay. 4 for me, Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
I did not like the Knicks.
That's fair.
And so I was team Reggie.
You were team Reg?
Team Reggie.
Reg in that battle?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Him and Spike going back and forth.
Yeah.
I like Reg. So,
That's fair.
Reggie Miller.
Number 3 for me, Tracy McGrady. For some weird reason, I liked him a lot growing up and the little bit of NBA I watched. Would have been nice.
I went with his cousin, Vince Carter.
There you go.
Vince Carter. I like Vince Carter.
Vince was great.
If you were in high school around that time, Vince Carter dunking was awesome. He was one of the reasons why I liked UNC back in the day. Vince Carter, Anton Jameson.
Yeah,
that was fun.
fair.
But Vince Carter, man,
That's true.
elite athlete.
Truly. Number 2 for me, Allen Iverson. Loved Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson, number 2 for me.
Loved
AI,
Iverson.
yeah.
Loved AI.
AI. I loved AI when he was at Georgetown, man. Rocking the baggy Georgetown pants. But man, AI.
Yeah.
Yep. Allen Iverson, number 2.
Number 1 for me. I'm breaking my rule a little bit, but it's just because he deserves one, and I'm setting every hot one. Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley deserved an NBA title. I love that man so much.
Barkley's my number 1.
Absolute fool.
Yeah, I like Barkley. Barkley's
Love
fun.
Chuck.
The best player to never win a title is probably Elgin Baylor.
Yeah.
That would be probably number 1. I did not see Elgin Baylor play, therefore he's not on my list.
Yeah.
For those
I broke my rule for Chuck because I just love Chuck as a person too much.
Well, I remember Barkley.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember watching Chuck play hoops.
So Barkley got one of the MVPs that should have went to Jordan, but they were like, no, we don't want to give it to
Voter
Jordan.
fatigue, baby. It's the stupidest thing in sports.
But like, I don't remember George Gervin or
I feel you.
And I hated Stockton and I hated Malone.
Yeah, that's fair.
And same thing with Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Those individuals. I'm not a big Chris Paul fan. I know Chris Paul might be
not
up
either.
there. I'm not a big Chris Paul guy. So that's what we got. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Travis Kelce. He met with the media, and in the 1 o'clock hour, we will hear from George Karloftis plus little odds makers here on Mic'd Up. Voice some Royals tickets right now. I mean, we
technically can.
Do we want to try to switch up the mojo? Technically, when we give away tickets, the Royals really don't win.
I mean, that's I'm not trying to deprive anyone of tickets here. That is what happens every time.
But in fairness, it's kind of like
they're also not winning right now.
No, but the way you look at it this way is they've only won 18 times this entire year.
True.
So that's just, sheer. That's what the Royals are. So it's not us. It's just the Royals are a bad team. It's like you don't believe in clutch hitting. You don't believe in their due. Their numbers are your numbers are, right?
I will push back a tiny bit here. I don't believe in their due thing. That is, I hate that phrase.
If that
was, there is such a. I don't think it's heavily quantifiable. There is such a thing as clutch, of being able to be mentally prepared enough that the moment does not overcome you. I think that is a thing, that there are guys above else in sports and different events who can slow the heart rate and be focused and not lose their mind in those situations. That's more mental than physical, but I do believe clutch is a trait. It's just really hard to quantify. Their due is pointless. No. Sometimes the guy's just bad.
I'm not going to lie.
He hasn't had a home run in 100 at bats. He's due. No, maybe he just doesn't have power.
I think he's due.
I hate that phrase so much.
Is if previously he had been doing it well.
Yeah.
Okay. But there is one individual who is testing my theory on he is due aspect. And that is the man going tonight.
Yeah, like someone could tell me Jordan Lyles is 0-10. The Royals have never won a single start with Jordan Lyles on the mound.
I say he's not 0-10.
What is he?
They're 0-13.
Well, yes, they are.
Yes.
Which means actually they're 0-11 in Lyles starts now. Listen, his last start was while I was on vacation. I blatantly didn't touch that.
Yeah.
I stayed as far away from that as I could.
He is the one guy who
that phrase doesn't apply to Jordan Love. You can't tell me haven't won it 13 times. He's due for a win. He just sucks.
He does. Let's give away some Royals tickets. Okay,
let's do it, Jake. Sure, let's do it, buddy.
Caller number 7, because they were on a
7-game losing streak.
7-game losing streak. 7-game losing streak. You get 2 tickets or 4 tickets to your choice of Royals game. So 785-272-9429. Everybody loves going to the ballpark.
I'll say, even though the team sucks, going to the park is still fun.
Still fun.
You can, as I always say, you can pick a series where a good team's in town. You just got to watch the better team.
And right now,
there's some good teams coming to town.
You've got Cincinnati. I mean, it was a fun game yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of fun young players on the Reds. Got the Angels coming to town this weekend. Shohei Ohtani. He's not pitching this weekend, but
I know the Royals didn't get him because he pitched. He's pitching, I think, tomorrow.
I think so too.
So he's not going to pitch against the Royals, which stinks.
Bummer.
The Dodgers are coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams coming to town. So at most, just go watch a better baseball team.
Caller 7-785-272-9429. Very simple, very easy. You get either 2 tickets or 4 tickets to your choice of game. Works out very, very well.
True.
Travis Kelce met with the media earlier today. Here is what the tight end had to say.
And working on routes and stuff with the entire team. But it's over the course of my career, I just found the groove of, when to get ready. I take camp very seriously. I take preseason very seriously. I get a lot of my work done during that time, and the free time that I get, I like to put my feet up, go see some family, all while staying in shape and getting geared up for training camp.
What's the biggest, memory that jumps out to you when you were a rookie? That first couple days at training camp, given it was Andy's first as a head coach?
Really, that first training camp, you don't realize how many people are going to be out there. It felt like it was a game. It was the excitement of people watching practice and stuff. I'm not used to that as coming out of University of Cincinnati. Our training camp was in higher ground in the middle of Indiana, so we didn't really have anybody at practice. It was kind of the dog days and just the fellas that were on the team. And then sure enough, I come to KC and it's a packed house. Everybody out there, St. Joe's, screaming, yelling, getting fired up during stretch. I'm just like, man, this is it's a little different. You don't got to, you're not as much in your head about the dog days of 2 days and stuff like we had in college. Well, I guess we don't do 2 days anymore, but yeah. So I would say the crowd is definitely what stands out the most.
Is there a moment you had that first season where it was like, oh, this is like welcome to the NFL moment with Coach?
With Coach, I slowly realized how Coach wanted things to get going. Like I think he even said it on my on the podcast or the show that I got with my brother, Neil Heights. He was saying, the first 5 years were a challenge, which is fun to look back at. The first 5 years, and I've actually watched a lot of that tape, and I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, I get it. I get where he's coming from. You find that professional approach and you find that, that groove. And I think Coach Reed does it the best of, channeling everybody to that discipline aspect. It's hard. It's not an easy thing to get a bunch of, grown men to stay disciplined on stuff like, so it's just, I think the welcome to the league moment with Coach Reed was just that eyebrow he gives you, man. That thing, he just looks at you like, all right, I better pick it up. Better stop screwing around in here.
Last time you got one of those eyebrows for?
When I pitched the ball against Cincinnati.
This magazine. Can you look back on the Super Bowl moment and specifically at those 2 touchdowns where guys had like an acre of ground to catch the ball?
Yeah.
And tell me how that happens. And did you know that was going to happen? What, as the play was even called? I mean, that's. It's hard for civilians to understand football. So explain how that play came about and how those guys are so wide open.
Yeah, well, first things first is great game planning. The coaches do a great job of understanding what, the tendencies are for the defensive, the defense that we're playing, or the defensive coordinator and what his tendencies are to call in that area. And then, and then play design. You get everything mirrored up the exact same. That's a lot. And tip of the hat to our coaching staff, both in the run game, the pass game, because all of it kind of ties in together in the red zone there.
So tell me about that play specifically. Like, what's going on? You're on the field, you're not catching the ball, but what's going on in that play? I mean, like,
So, yeah.
Slay is like pointing this way, and all of a sudden somebody's running the other way. Like,
Yeah.
What?
Typically what we've shown on that play is just, we have different versions where the guy in motion goes all the way across field. So the defense will just, they'll have an answer for that. They'll have, whether it's, passing it off to a guy on the other side of the field, or, the two guys playing man on that side of the field, which you saw a couple of times in the Super Bowl, where they kind of just got confused on who had who. And that's where it comes to where the offensive coaching staff and then the guys doing it the right way on the field, giving nothing to the defense that we're doing something different.
Travis, is your training any different now that you're getting older and all? You're older and wiser, better. You look like a fountain of youth. You can see everything you've done. But I mean, what do you do to maintain that? We all get a little older.
I just love the game. I think that kind of keeps me living with a I don't know, like a young, fun-loving football player. I get to play a game for a living at the age of 33, 34, and I think that's I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that excitement that I had for the game when I was a kid. And every single day I get to come in with the best team, best players, best coaches in the world. So it makes it easy to come in here and just enjoy it. But I would say I just focus on a lot of the smaller things, the details of things, and just try and make sure that everything as an athlete in terms of muscles and explosion and things like that everything's firing, so I don't go out there and tweak my back like I did last week.
You mentioned you taking this time seriously, like preseason and camp and all that. But how much? Karen mentioned, you're older in your career. How much do you embrace the mentorship? Like,
oh man, I love it, man. We got the best tight end room in the league right now, and it's fun to be a part of all the grand scheme of things in terms of this offense and what it can do. But coming to work and being around the tight end group, man, we got a fun group that just loves to play this game and wants to make plays, no matter how they got to do it. Whether we're blocking, whether we're catching the ball downfield, or just finding a way to get somebody else open. And that's the beauty of the tight end positions, that we're pretty selfless, and whatever you need, we can do. And the young guys, man, the guys that are kind of like still getting molded into this offense that you'll see this year, any bit of advice I can give to anybody, and that's kind of across the league. I'll give nuggets of gold over here, tight end U coming up next week, or what I think are nuggets of gold. And you know what? And it'll be I'm here to try and get everybody to be at their best, and still got that confidence that what we do over here is always going to be number one.
Okay, we got 4 more. We got to wrap up. Okay, so Todd, Blair, Pete, Mackenzie.
How much does that keep you young?
Keep me young, man. I'll tell you what, it is fun, man. Seeing Jody Fortson fly around, seeing Noah fly around, Matt Bushman coming in, making plays every single day. That gets you excited about the group. So that alone kind of builds the motivation that, kind of builds the beast and gets you to want to fly around too and have some fun catching the ball and getting open, man. So without a doubt, man, I think it fuels me, but I think this entire team fuels each other. We don't got a lot of drains out here, baby. It's all City of Fountains out here.
Travis, one of the things like on the podcast that you guys are doing, there weren't podcasts when you were, maybe there were, but you probably wouldn't have been trusted to do a podcast in your first 5 years of the league.
It's fair enough.
And now you are. Can you tell us? I don't think I've heard you talk about how that came about. Did you ask the team permission? Were they like, all right, Travis, we trust you to do this now?
It was kind of like when I got drafted. It was just like, oh, all right, who are you doing it with? He was like, I'm doing it with Jason. Like, oh, okay, all right, you can do it then. So that was basically the premise of it right there.
So it's only Jason. He has to trust you too, though, right?
I mean, on 3rd and 10, I think I built the trust enough, but yeah, we're still working on everything else.
Blair.
I don't think we've talked
Work in progress.
since the SNL appearance, but I'm just wondering, what did you appreciate about the way they go about their business?
It was a machine, man. It was a very strategic, structured machine, and then there was a lot of fun in terms of the creativity. The structure is there so that everybody that is creative can kind of have like parameters, and on top of that, everybody works great together there. All the writers, the production, everyone, it's like a team effort. So in terms of like drawing up plays and going out there and performing, the plays on the field and the creativity that's kind of built into it all, there's some similarities. I will say this, but there's nothing like being in front of the world with a mic in your hand.
Pete and then Mackenzie.
Travis, I know that you recently hired some off-the-field representation, just given some of these opportunities like the match and SNL. Questions always asked is how long do you feel like you want to go? Just considering sometimes when tight ends get to their mid-30s, they start to look at that.
Till the wheels fall off, baby. I love this game, man. I know I'm gonna miss it when I'm done playing, but it's I hear you on that, and that's a business decision I'm sure I'll have to make at some point in my life. But for right now, I'm in this building wanting to win football games, man.
We have to ask, last night you got a second chance at a first pitch. What was that?
So I'll tell you what, I got lucky. I did. I got lucky. I don't know if you guys saw the left foot slide there, good foot, but I think that actually helped it come back over the plate. So I got lucky. I didn't fall on my tail and go viral yet again. For the wrong reason, but shout out to Bobby Witt for he kind of painted that corner for me a little bit, put it over the plate. So thanks to the Royals for letting me get a second chance. And I'm sorry, Cleveland. I'm so embarrassed to come back home now. But you know what I mean.
Travis, are you at all impressed with what you're accomplishing at what is considered an advanced football age?
I would say my mentality is always on my worst critic. I can't watch myself on film without just absolutely just telling myself that I suck 90% of the time. There's times where, it's fun and, you make it play or you get open, you make a good route or you make a good block. But at the same time, it's you have to be your own worst critic. You can't sit there on the times that you have success. There's always chances where you can just keep getting better and getting better. And that's just kind of the mentality I've always had in my athletic career, man.
That is Travis Kelce. A few things to take away from this. Till the wheels fall off is what Travis Kelce just said about when and how long he will do this. That's great to hear if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Till the wheels fall. Because with the success of his podcast and his on the field or off the field persona, if you will, he will have opportunities. He can obviously be in the media. Travis Kelce will turn 34 during the season next year on October the 5th. Okay. This will be his 11th year in the league. Technically, he didn't play his rookie year because he got hurt. So his 10th year playing. And he'll be 34. I think Kelce's got this year, he'll still be elite. Okay.
Yeah.
I think 2024, I think then you might start to see a little bit of the decline. And then 25, he'll be 35 years old. No, I take that back because he'll be 34 and 23. 24, he'll be 35. So I think 2025 might, at 36. The question to me is not how long he wants to play because I think his body will hold up because he's been a very healthy guy.
Yeah.
I think the question then becomes just how impactful is he? He's an absolute machine right now. I think he still will be that. I do this upcoming year.
Yeah.
I expect 1,100 yards, and that's technically low. He had 1,300 this last year. He had 1,100 the year before that, 1,400, 1,200, 1,300. So I think you got to expect 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. Pencil that in. He had 12, 9, and 11 touchdowns the last 3 years. It's when he's not that guy will be telling what the Chiefs do.
Yeah.
So I think 23, I think for the most part 24, unless something happens this upcoming year, I think I think 2025 is when the decline will be for Travis Kelce. Yeah. And the reason why I think the decline for him is not going to be this year, and maybe not to the point of it next year in 24, is I think training camp is so big. I think you're seeing the reason why a lot of guys get hurt is because training camp is not what it once was. Okay. I'm saying you don't have to, have 3-a-days and all that kind of stuff. But the guys, this training camp, I think a lot of the injuries, the reason why quarterbacks get hurt so much is because they never get hit. They never get used to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of his, they get concussions, and to me, concussions are completely different than any other injury. But a lot of other stuff, the nicks, the bruises, I think that does play a factor if you're not taking training camp seriously. I think Travis Kelce saying, I take that so seriously, I think that prepares you for it. We'll never truly know how important having an Andy Reid intense training camp means. Mitch Holtis in our training camp reports will tell you this is the reason why the Chiefs are so good and all that kind of. No, the reason why the Chiefs are so good is because they have Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. They're the best players, okay? But I do think him taking that training camp so damn seriously and going all out is a huge, huge benefit for his nicks and bruises. But the fall is coming. You don't all of a sudden wake up on Super Bowl Sunday and your back is jacked up and you don't know whether or not you're going to play.
Yeah.
That happened to Travis Kelce this past Super Bowl. That means the end is coming. Just what time?
What time is the $1 million question?
But if he says the wheels fall off, then you don't have to worry about, oh, well, I'm going to pull a Jim Brown and retire at age, 32, or I'm going to, just call her quits like Barry Sanders. It's going to go all the way through. So I do think that's a good situation, at least for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he'll play with the Chiefs pretty much forever. Coming up, we're going to hear from George Karlaftis. We'll hear a little bit from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We've got odds makers. Fulton, are you?
I don't want to think about it.
I'm interested in your. Dan dropped an 80% on us. We'll get to that coming up in the 2:00 hour. Fulton coming up on hour number 3 on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have Royals baseball. They are continuing to play the game, and they will continue to play this game about 115 more times this year, despite
Tonight's less worth watching, though.
The fact that it is not going well for the boys in blue. And Jordan Lyles is towing the rubber today.
Time for a season high 8-game losing streak. They're not winning tonight.
They're not winning tonight? No. I'm not going to lie to you. It's been a good 6 games for me. 7 games, actually. Because I bet against the Royals every single game. Yesterday, the Royals were down, or the Royals were up 3-0. I bet Reds money line. Does that make me a bad fan?
Yeah.
Like right now, the Royals, like you can get the Reds minus 112.
Do it.
Just to win the game.
Do it. Jordan Lyles is starting. They're not winning. I've told myself I'm not going to comment on Jordan Lyles starts because there's no sense in breaking down a bad pitcher being bad. But I'm just going to say y'all were part of this program when the day the signing was announced. Y'all saw my reaction to that signing.
You were excited.
Mm-hmm.
Fulton said this is one of the best moves you can make this offseason.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, I don't get a ton right in this business. I hit this one square on the head.
I've been on a heater, man. I'm on a pretty good heater.
Good for you.
I've been on a heater.
Good for you.
Told you the Nuggets were going to win in 5. Told you that very, very simply. That was easy to call. Been on a good one here. We're going to hear from George Karlaftis, and we will hear from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was very, very open and honest in today's press conference. We'll get to both of those. We will have a little odds makers. We will talk about Salvador Perez. Should you trade Salvador Perez? Would Salvador Perez okay the trade? There is a little bit of precedent set. We will get into that coming up to finish off this edition of Mic'd Up. As always, hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Outside of Topeka, check us out. Very simple, very easy. Go to our YouTube page. Go to youtube.com/@sportson580 if you want to watch the show. George Karlaftis, the rookie. What did George have to say? Here was his very short and brief press conference.
It sounds from Tom Mahali's perspective, you reached out to him or there was some sort of connection beforehand. I guess why, and what would you say you gained the most so far?
Yeah, just during the offseason, you have some time off, and then you kind of get to thinking about, different stuff and how you can improve going into your second year, going into the next year. And, I knew there's some Chiefs players and guys that have been a part of the organization that live in town. I just reached out to him just to get some knowledge, and it turned out to be a great relationship. And he's been a great mentor and a great person to me.
Something we talked to you a lot about last year, which is Frank and his impact on you. What were those conversations like? Just saying goodbye from a team wise, and just when he meant to you.
Yeah, I mean, I love Frank. He meant the world to me. And everybody on this team that was a part of him. It's a great person. At the end of the day, he got to do what he got to do. That's his business. But I love him, man. He just taught me so much that I'll take not only with me forward as a professional football player, but in life too.
George, are there some things you're working on this offseason? Sorry. Are there some things you're working on this offseason in particular as opposed to just kind of general improvement?
Yeah, I think the general improvement's a big one. Really trying to focus on the little things, the mental aspect, the mental side of the game. You can never get too good at that. The details, the fundamentals, and really getting bigger, faster, stronger, and, trying to hit it from every angle.
How much better do you feel about your knowledge of being a National Football League player right now than you did a year ago heading into this mandatory minicamp?
Yeah, I mean, playing 20 games, having that experience, and being around guys like Chris, like Frank, like Carlos, and all the other guys in the room, that helps you out, and I learned a lot this past season. I'm ready to take that with me going forward.
Was there a spot last year where things clicked for you? Was it off season, during the season?
I don't know. I couldn't pin down one specific spot. I started feeling good towards the end of the year, going to the playoffs, and hoping to carry that over.
Do you feel like when you look back at that final stretch where you had 5.5 sacks in the last 7 games, was simply a matter of getting home finally, or was there anything?
You just kind of start to figure it out eventually. It starts to click. You have conversations, and it happens at a different time for everyone. And times it got frustrating. But you just keep going. You just keep going forward and put your best foot forward. And yeah.
George, there were a lot of first times for you this past season. I mean, Super Bowl, then you got to go to the White House. Talk about that experience.
Yeah, it was all right. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. From getting drafted in the first round, to the best organization in the league. Just to going on having a pretty good rookie year, and then winning the Super Bowl, going to the White House, and everything that comes with that. I mean, it's been a blessing, man. I'm blessed, truly.
What are your thoughts what you've seen so far of Felix, the first round draft pick?
He's been great, man. He's been a little banged up, but he's he's a student of the game. He's hasn't been on the field a whole lot just because of whatever. But he's been able to soak everything up. Mentally, he's pretty good, and I think he's gonna have a bright future here.
That is George Karlaftis. I think it's great he's reached out to Tom Bahali. I think that's awesome. Tom can help him out. You heard him, just thank Frank Clark. And the one thing that I, remember from the training camp last year was almost after every practice, there was Karlaftis and Frank Clark after practice. And you could see, even if it was just, 5 to 10 minutes that you saw was being reported, that, yep, Karlaftis is still on the field with Frank, still on the field. They're talking, going through, using, the dummies and the pads, working on moves. So you can definitely tell that Karlaftis is a student of the game. So I think that's great that he's reaching out to Tom Bahali. Great stuff. What about Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I can tell you this, he is 1,000% third on the depth chart. After hearing what Clyde Edwards-Helaire had to say today. This was very honest. I mean, very honest from Clyde Edwards-Helaire today. I wasn't planning on airing any Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not gonna lie to you. What do you know about third string running back? But
those were your words.
Those were my words. But as Rocky in Rocky 4 told us, if you can change and I can change and we can change, I change.
Got a Rocky 4 reference.
Here's Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the whole not getting your 5th-year option picked up. Here is that sequence.
Clyde, we know we didn't get the option for that 5th-year thing. Just tell us about your motivation right now going into this year, knowing you have free agent year after this.
Just like every year, I know it's year after year. I can't think 2 years ahead from now, or the position that I would be in 12 months from now, when I know I still had the rest of OTAs and camp. So it was really just coming in and figure out and see the things that I could work on, and from that point just kind of roll with it during camp.
How does that actually work, with you guys? Did they just tell your agent, hey, we're not going to pick up the option? They call you? How does the logistics of that actually go?
They called my agent, and that was pretty much the gist of it. It was off season during camp, and everything else was kind of online. Like, I'm really not a big online Twitter guy, so it was just kind of just hopping online, and then you get a call. That's about it. Oh, I mean, yeah, most definitely. It's one of those things. But it's also it's 2 years from now, so it's one of those, like, I know what I have to do in order to get on the field and do the things that I need to do this year. But as far as focusing on something 2 years from now, I can't tell you what would be the motivation, and or if it's just something with how the dice roll and they figure out money wise, why try to put all our eggs in one basket for 2 years from now, not knowing what's happening on the back end. So it's football.
So this is this contract year for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Contract year. Now, here is some other honesty situations. He was flat out asked, because remember, he did not play in the Super Bowl. He was inactive. Clyde Edwards-Helaire on could he have played in the Super Bowl?
I practiced that week, the whole week. I played receiver that week. I played the Z and the zebra. Pretty much played every position with the exception of quarterback and O-line throughout practicing through that week. So I was in my mind kind of thinking that I got activated, say like Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. I really don't know. But I mean, initially it was just going out there, didn't think I was playing. So started practicing. Coach kind of told me, figure some things out as far as, if the playbook, the only guy that I would trust to go out here and trying to learn those. Not, I wouldn't even say learn, but the playbook. So in order to keep everything going smooth for the biggest game of the year, why not have you go out there, play receiver, keep everything rolling? And if you're doing that for us on the offense, and I also did scout team. I was Devontae Smith for scout team for the defense. So I did everything that I needed to do in order for us to win that game, and that's just what it was. They called my number, and I was out there.
Great teammate.
Yeah.
Also was on the scout team during Super Bowl week.
Yeah, that tells you a lot.
I was Devonta Smith on scout team. I'm telling you this, Isaiah Pacheco was not on no scout team.
Yeah, that's correct.
Jerick McKinnon probably wasn't on no scout team.
Yeah, that's correct.
That tells me a lot there.
Yeah.
One, he played. He could have. He was healthy, it looked like. He's played practice all week. So he was a coach's DNP.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're wondering, this is great. What about not playing in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to dwell and go back into like those deep hard places, but I would say getting off the bus this previous Super Bowl, kind of just floating, kind of going, had my headphones on, just kind of figuring everything out. And when I got in, I didn't have my uniform, so it was just one of those things. Is okay, cool. Roll with the, you roll with the punches. That's what I was raised on. So I'm looking at T. I remember talking to Travis because on video he was the guy walking in behind me, and he seen that I didn't have my uniform. So he kind of looked at me and was like, "I'm gonna get you one." So that was it. Talked to Frank, talked to Kadarius, Tony, and those are 3 guys I talked to. And then after that, we went out there and handled business.
So if you're wondering, how does a guy find out he's inactive for the biggest game of the year? He gets off the bus and walks in and doesn't have a uniform. Can you think about that initial shock?
Oh, that's brutal.
Right?
That's you see that and you need to walk out into the tunnel by yourself for a little bit. You'd excuse yourself to the bathroom and sit in a stall for a hot minute. But listen, credit to Clyde for a guy that, like, think about the entire year he had.
Exactly.
He came out as starting running back, came out of house of fire catching touchdowns. Like, got a lot of touchdowns early. As a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fantasy owner, trust me, I know we got a lot of touchdowns early. It was very entertaining. And then just slowly, though, Pacheco just keeps plugging away. You see him play well. And then all of a sudden, it's just, we're going to make the move. And to be clear, like, Clyde, when they made that decision, could have sulked. He could have pulled a Ronald Jones and asked for a trade. He could have done a lot of things. And credit where credit is due. He just said, well, this is the hand I'm currently being dealt. I'm going to do the best I can in the role that I'm given. And if I get an opportunity, I do. If I don't, I don't.
For those of you wondering, at the start of the year last year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, through the first 7 games, had 288 yards rushing, 4.5 yards attempt, 3 touchdowns. He had 16 receptions, 137 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he had 6 touchdowns in the first 7 games, keep in mind.
Yeah, he did.
So, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
And
which has been a problem for him in his career.
He got Wally Pipp.
Yeah.
He got Isaiah Pacheco.
Got Drew Bledsoe.
No, technically he got Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
No. Again, he got Drew Bledsoe a little bit.
He got.
No, you never want to be Wally Pitt, man. You never want to be Wally. But yeah, it's like,
so, but that, I'm listening to the music, he's probably, maybe he's listening to Eminem's Lose Yourself, and all of a sudden, Mom Spaghetti comes walking in no jersey. Bam. You want to talk about a Mike Tyson uppercut?
Yeah.
That had to be it. Now, he probably had an idea he wasn't going to be active because
he
you're on
probably
the scout
had
team,
to be feeling it, but it's when it happens. But yeah, it's brutal. And I was a Clyde guy from day one, and it bums me out that it hasn't worked.
Yeah,
because I really felt like there was something there where it could work, and it hasn't. And I think overall Isaiah Pacheco does fit what this team needs more than Clyde does.
Because he didn't catch the ball hardly that much.
Which is always still to this day feels weird.
Yeah.
Like, he says he was working out in practice as the Z, as like an emergency Z receiver. And yet couldn't ever be I've never got that. I've never understood it.
Yeah.
And unless I could get in room with Andy Reid and give him a bunch of truth serum, I will never know what happened there. But
after the 49er game, he didn't really play. He had 4 carries against Tennessee, didn't carry it against Jacksonville, had 2 carries against the Chargers, then got hurt, and then didn't play the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Didn't play the rest of the year. He was done. His season was over. Inactive for the Super Bowl. Jersey not there. Whew, man. I did not know it was. I mean, it's kind of like back in the day, did you make the team or didn't? You walk up to the list. Ooh. Not playing. And then that also kind of shows you the Travis Kelce leadership, talking to Trav and his growth and everything. But yeah, that tells me that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the number 3 running back. And I don't know if anybody would give the Chiefs the 6th round pick for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I still think no. I would I would trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a 6th round. Would I rather have 1 year of Clyde Edwards-Helaire or take a flyer on an O lineman in the 6th round? Give me the flyer. You can find another running back.
And I mean, as always, when you get extra draft picks, you can start packaging those up to try to move up even higher. Even those late round ones, extra 6th are a way to either move up in the 6th or even to maybe sometimes crack back into the 5th.
You trade him. Yeah, I'm not gonna take that one because that you got to it first.
Whether I'm gonna be proven right or wrong, we will see. But I really feel like they're gonna try and use the preseason to show out and showcase Clyde. And if he performs well in the preseason, then someone might call. There are because I know a lot of people are going to go, well, if he's the 3rd string running back on the Chiefs, why would anyone want that? Because 3rd string on the Chiefs could be 2nd string anywhere else, or could be, competing for 1st string at somewhere who doesn't have running backs. Like running back is such a volatile spot in space. Yeah, and then you added injuries with it too. If Clyde looks good in the preseason, looks like man, this guy could have some good football in him. Someone might take a flyer.
So basically, then once Clyde got hurt, that was when Jerick McKinnon took over as the number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, I did.
But McKinnon's
caught a billion touchdowns.
McKinnon's last 6 games. Just 142 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, but then he had 27 receptions in the last 6 games. Okay. For 274 yards.
And 9 touchdowns, right?
8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns in the last 6 games. He had 2 touchdowns against Denver and then 2 he had 4 against Denver. He scored 2 touchdowns against Denver in each time that they played him. Remember the one little, flip, little hook shot, that that
was the funniest thing I ever watched on TV.
Yeah. So that is what Jerick McKinnon had 500 yards receiving as a running back last year.
Yeah.
God, you kind of forget some of that.
You do.
500 yards. Good gracious. And that's where I do think a 3rd running back is going to be important because you got Pacheco, but they don't want to use McKinnon early. Look at Jerick McKinnon's early lines here. Ready? McKinnon, 4 rushing attempts, 7, then 2, then 8, then 2, then 2. They didn't want to use him.
No.
He's a bullpen guy. He's not a starter.
No.
He's a bullpen guy.
Yeah.
They didn't. You ready? His from game 1 to game, let's go 8. For the first 8 games, he only had 32 attempts and 25 targets. That's it.
Yeah.
In the first 8 games. Gotta save your closer.
Gotta save your horses, man.
I think that's what they're gonna do again this year. That's what I would do this year if I were the Chiefs. Save Jerick McKinnon. You bet. Coming up next, we got odds makers. And then we'll talk a little trading Salvador Perez or not. Fulton, it's time for odds makers.
I don't want to do this.
My last one you can put in there was at 49.2%.
Yeah, and you said you didn't do it last week, right?
I
We didn't play this game?
I know my last number was 49.2.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
That's fine.
Fulton, what was your last number on what are the odds the Royals lose 100 games? The Royals are on pace to lose 118 games right now.
Yeah, they are.
They're on pace to lose and win the same amount as this current A's team is now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the last number that you had?
Back on May 30th, before I went on vacation, it was 8%.
Hey!
Because it wasn't that bleak.
8%. What has happened since then?
Well, they've lost 7 straight games, and I believe, if I think correctly, they've lost 10 of their last 11.
So you went on vacation.
I officially entered vacation
Friday.
Yeah.
Before Friday?
Would have been June 2nd.
June 2nd.
We can say June 2nd.
Okay, so they went.
So there's 2 extra games after.
Lost, win, lost. So they lost. They're 1-9.
Mm-hmm.
No, 1-10.
Yep, they've lost 10 of their last 11 since I last said 8%.
And now 8%, but then you add in 10 more losses to that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a big number.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big number.
It's gotten real bad.
All right. Well,
you got all those extra losses, which is putting you behind the 8 ball because you've lost 7 straight games right now, tying a season high. You're going to lose 8 straight tonight, marking a new season high because ain't no way in the world that Jordan Lyles is winning you a baseball game or you're winning a game started by Jordan Lyles. If that happens, hell has frozen over. You couple all that together.
What are we at?
I don't know if Vinny Pasquantino is going to play baseball again this season because they still don't know what's going on with his shoulder. And J.J. Piccolo said today on KC Sports Radio, it might be another 48 hours till we know, and that's concerning. It's like, I don't even know if like one of their top 3 hitters is even going to play baseball this year. I promised myself I wouldn't do drastic jumps because to me, that does not make a good data set.
But here's the thing.
That being said.
No, time out. Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
It's not a drastic jump because you didn't make an announcement last week.
No, actually, I also disagree. This is 2 weeks of data.
Exactly. Fulton, they've lost 10 games since I've asked you this.
I know. They've lost. It's been bad.
Hold on a second. I'm not prepared. All right. What's this number?
60%.
Oh no! Fulton!
The more I've sat and thought about this, I don't see a realm unless something weird happens the rest of the way
Fulton,
where they don't lose 100 games.
Fulton, you said 60%.
Yeah.
You went from 8%
to 60.
To 60%.
Yeah, it's a spike. The spike coincides with, oh my goodness, what's happening? We're going to get to look back at this data and going to go, man, I wonder what happened in that 2-week period. What happened is the Royals lost 10 of 11 games, and they were like a 6-game losing streak with almost zero competitive energy, and then losing a game to the Reds where they blow a 3-0 lead and just had so many chances to win and still couldn't do it. Like, I am not being hyperbolic when I say, I'm going to look at this real quick. I'm getting. You're all going to suffer with this for a minute.
While you look that up, I'll give you my.
Yeah. What's your numbers while I pull something up here?
My answer right now is I'm going to go with 74%. Okay. Not quite there at 3/4, but I'm going to go 74% that they're going to lose 100 games.
That's fair.
Okay. 74%.
So I'm going to do some math real quick.
By the way, Fulton, while you're doing the math in your head, this is one 5-game losing streak that the Royals are on.
Buddy, it's about to count as several.
See, that's the thing. Could they do the 2 5-game losing streaks
I
back to back?
would not be stunned if this streak reaches 12. If they lose these next 2 against Cincinnati, because the Reds are feisty, man. I think they can beat the Reds, but that comes down to the Daniel Lynch start. They're not winning tonight. Until I watch them win a game with Jordan Lyles on the mound, I'm not going to say they ever can. Because Jordan Lyles puts you behind such an 8-ball in every one of those games. Then you got the Angels for 3.
Hold on a second. Well, before we get to that. You being so negative. You've never been this negative about Jordan Lyles before. Never.
I've been bad about Jordan Lyles. It's disgusting. I hate it.
You haven't been this
I hate
negative.
him so much.
He
He might be my least favorite Royal of all time. Watching him play baseball makes me hurt.
No.
And I'm going to watch it tonight because it's what I do. Apparently, Mitch Holthus and I are the same kind of sicko, and then we watch every one of these games. Which, at least Mitch and I got that in common.
Here we go. You ready for this? Because you are so negative, I almost think the Royals are going to win now.
No. There is not a chance.
Yep.
There's not a snowball's chance that they win this game tonight.
I'm
gonna watch all 9 innings of this game, knowing what the result's going to be, and it's still gonna be a punch below the belt when they lose tonight.
I was so I almost was ready to put my bet in. Reds money line. But now I'm scared. Because you are now so negative.
They're so bad, man.
So negative to Jordan Lyles.
Yeah.
That it almost makes me feel like
no, he's giving up. He's going to give up 7 runs in 4 innings. Ellie De La Cruz is going to hit a ball onto the highway.
I think I'm betting the Royals now.
Ellie De La Cruz is going to hit a ball onto I-70.
I think the Royals might get it done tonight.
No.
Just because you're so negative right now. You're so negative.
Spencer Steer is going to hit a baseball to the Denny's past the stadium.
I don't think it exists anymore.
It doesn't, but it's a good reference. I think that Denny's is closed, but it's a good reference.
I think you're...
Jonathan India is going to break the Royals Hall of Fame.
You are out of character so bad right now. And I am bummed because I did look up the Angels pitching rotation, and Ohtani pitches Thursday at Texas.
Matt McClain is going to get 18 hits tonight, and they're all going to be off Jordan Lyles in 3 innings.
Okay. All right, do you got an odds makers for me?
I kind of went off the rails there. I had to get it out.
I think the Royals
had to get it out.
Now I'm hesitant because you are so
because I'm just so downtrodden.
Yes, on Lyles. I don't know.
He's a bum. He throws batting practice. That doesn't change it. Like, he throws batting practice. It's what he does.
Well, maybe he's due.
You know what, Jake? Just because of that. I'm flipping the script here. Just because of that. Jake, what are the odds Jordan Lyles gets his first win tonight? We're flipping the script here.
No,
come on, man.
I'll say the odds are 30%. I mean, technically there's 0% because we've had 10 games, but you have to take each one sample size different. Okay.
Do you really?
Yes, you do.
With Jordan Lyles,
yes,
do you really?
Do. Yes. I'm going to say every game has been 30%. It just so happens to be that every other game, it ends up on the 70% side. So I'm going to say 30% that the Royals have a chance to win this game.
Just like to remind you that Jordan Lyles leads the major leagues in earned runs allowed and home runs allowed and losses. And I don't mean the American League. I mean the major leagues. I mean out of 30 teams and scores of pitchers, Jordan Lyles gives up the most home runs and the most earned runs. Just want to remind you of that. I also want to remind you that Jordan Lyles in his career has twice before given up the most earned runs in baseball.
Yeah. We got some breaking news.
Was it breaking news that's going to make me happy?
No, it's breaking. it's breaking news that again confirms my stance on Josh Allen over Joe Burrow.
Okay.
This is according to Ben Baby, who covers the Bengals.
All right, Ben.
for ESPN. Ben Baby.
All right,
he,
Ben.
He just tweeted out, Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow said he'll listen to anything but country music. Yep.
Do you know if Josh Allen will listen to country music?
I heard Josh Allen listens to like Sinatra before games.
Oh, Josh Allen. Good guy.
Yeah,
Cool
I'm going to go ahead and say, Josh Allen went to Wyoming.
Yeah.
As a college. Yeah. He listens to country music.
That's not a guarantee there, buddy.
He listens to country
That's
music.
not a guarantee there, pal.
No, he listens to country music.
Probably. So because Joey B doesn't, you don't like him even more?
Correct.
So is that a knock against Dan for you?
Dan will listen to some country music.
But overall, he doesn't like it overall.
Yeah.
Did you also see when to just maybe put a feather into Joey B's corner here, that he was asked today who he thinks is the best quarterback in the NFL, and without taking a beat, he goes Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And says until someone's better than that guy, it's that guy's. It is.
I didn't say he was dumb.
Well, you seem to really hate Joe, and I don't know why.
No, I don't hate Joe.
It seems you hate Joe a little bit.
No, you are to me. You asked me, do I like Josh Allen or Joe Burrow more to win? Who would I not want to win a Super Bowl? And I said Joe Burrow. Yeah. That does not mean I hate Joe Burrow. It is two things against one. You know, I'd be like, who would you like to win an NBA ring? Charles Barkley or Allen Iverson? If I say Charles Barkley, does that mean I hate Allen Iverson? No. Who would I want? Who do I don't want to? Who am I glad that has never won a ring? John Stockton and then Karl Malone. Does that mean I like John Stockton more than Karl Malone? No. I mean, I did. They're kind of the same, but no. I just another reason for me to like Josh Allen more than Joe Burrow. He hates country music.
Okay.
I like country music.
Okay. I love Joe.
I know you do.
Love Joe since LSU. It's never going to change. Bums me out he has to play in the AFC. Bums me out. I also like Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a good guy. Good dude.
He
solid dude. Solid dude.
Speaking of Josh Allen.
Yeah, he fired up to spoke up about how much he liked Stephon Diggs today.
Well, to me,
like backing up his dude.
Well, I don't care about that. I expect that. Josh Allen said this to Stephon Diggs. I know internally we're working on some things, non-football related, but Steph, he's my guy. Excuse me, expletive, love him. He's a brother of mine. This does not work what we're doing here without him. So what's going on?
I have no idea what's going on here.
Said not football related.
Yeah. Josh Allen also said, speaking more about the situation, that, quote, teamwork more than anything is what it has to do with. I am so intrigued about what's happening right now.
I'm doing the Jamal Murray after the NBA officials did not overturn the terrible 3-point foul called on Aaron Gordon.
You mean when Jimmy Butler got rewarded for kicking a man below the belt?
Yeah, and then Jamal Murray did the wait, what? Like what? How? I am so confused on what's happening.
I am so intrigued at what's going on here.
Yeah, we'll find out a little bit more later.
We probably will.
We will. Coming up next, do you trade Salvador Perez or not? We'll get into that coming up next. Or do you not? According to JJ Piccolo, the Kansas City Royals have no intention on trading Salvador Perez. JJ Piccolo said this: "We don't have any intention of trading Salvador Perez. I will confirm the report was accurate that a team called and asked about him, but unfortunately it was leaked. Those conversations should remain private. In this case, it didn't. The unfortunate thing is he's a player on our team and he's trying to be our leader. A deal to trade and to deal with trade rumor that was more inquisitive than anything, it was made more than it should have been." Do you trade Salvador Perez? In order to get anything of importance that would outweigh having one of the faces of your franchise. And when I say faces of your franchise, I mean, we are talking about Frank White, George Brett, Mike Sweeney, and Salvador Perez. In order for you to get something of value in return, which isn't just a guy, which isn't a jag, right? Just another guy. Just another guy is Edward Olivares. That's another guy. You trade for somebody like Edward Olivares. That's another guy. It's just a guy. That ain't anybody to build anything. You got to get someone who is a Nick Prado. Like, that's the guy you want. All right? That's the guy if you were going to trade Salvador Perez, you're hoping in return is Nick Prado. Guy with 5 years of control, has already having success at the big league level. That's what you want. That's what you want. How are you going to get that guy? Well, no one's going to take Salvador Perez for 3 years and $60 million. No one's going to do it. You're not going to get Nick Prado for 3 years, $60 million of Salvador Perez. The only way you're going to do that is if you eat about $40 million of that. That's it. So what you're really doing is you're buying a prospect.
Yeah.
Because you're so bad at development and evaluation, you're going to spend $40 million to buy a prospect. The problem is, in order to do that, one, you have to win. You have to win. And that guy has to be a key cog of that team. Otherwise, you're selling so low. If you were going to trade Salvador Perez back in 2020, I would understand it. But trading him now with 3 years left, you're not going to get the price. You're not going to get the return. It's basically selling Whit Merrifield. What did the Royals get for Whit Merrifield? Exactly. Nobody knows.
I mean, what they got was Max Castillo and Smont Taylor. And what you got is a pitcher who maybe can be a fringe guy.
Mm-hmm.
and a player in Samad Taylor that I know everyone is clamoring for, but has yet to see meaningful big league action. So we don't know.
Exactly.
Has done pretty well then at AAA. Has looked good.
Yeah.
And we'll probably get to see at some point this year. But maybe we found out he's a quad A player and he was great at AAA, but you bring him up and he's nothing. We don't know.
So if that's the case, then what happened is you just sent your iconic catcher, who's your captain, who's your leader, all for a quad A player, and you also angered legitimately half your fan base.
Like, there is, in my opinion, not enough good that could kind of trading Salvador Perez to outweigh the bad. And I know that for some people, you know, the idea, again, it has truly divided people, because I've seen people be like, yes, of course, don't trade him. Don't trade him. That's what you do. That means some people think it's crazy that you don't. And it's just, as I kind of said when we were talking with Dan back in the noon hour, if every time I do, like, you have to be transactional, but you have to be smart. Like, trading just to trade is the stupidest thing a team can do, particularly a small market club. When you're being transactional, you got to be smart about it. And the Royals have never been smart about it.
No.
And that's why I want to see what J.J. Picollo does, because, like, trading Aroldis Chapman is smart.
Yes.
Trading Scott Barlow is smart. Trading Nicky Lopez or Michael Garcia or Nick Lofton or flipping Samad Taylor, any one of your billions of infielders you have, which you have more infielders than you need. If he gets hot, trading MJ Melendez if he isn't your corner outfielder you want for the future. That's smart transactionally, because those are guys, because of their age and their price point and their club control, that will get you a lot. A guy like Michael Garcia will get you a lot.
Let me ask you
a guy
this.
like MJ Melendez, if he turns it around, starts hitting really well, will get you a lot.
Let me ask you this. In 2020, Salvador Perez's stock was 100. Salvador Perez's stock right now is at 40. Why are you going to sell it now?
That's where I'm at.
Okay, you sell it now at 40. All right. Maybe in a couple of years it goes down to 20. But guess what? You sell it at 40. All right. You've lost money. You've already lost money with Salvador Perez. But you want to know what you also have to factor in here? John Sherman's going to ask $1 billion to taxpayers.
You can't do that after trading Sal.
You're telling me John Sherman is going to hold a press conference if they trade Salvador Perez, and then 4 months later,
he's going to go, by the way, please give me $1 billion.
Please give me $1 billion.
It's not going to happen.
Zero chance you can do that.
And this is where I go to. If the idea is, well, trade Sal and see his contract. Okay. I just go back to this. Keep Sal and spend that money on pitchers.
Exactly.
If you're going to eat me $40 million, go get me Aaron Nola in the offseason.
Perfect. Yes.
Go get me go find a way to get me Julio Urias. Go get me Martin Perez. You know. Hell, go get me Kyle Gibson. He's been fine.
He destroys the Royals.
Yeah, he does. The only one I won't jokingly say is I won't say go get Shohei Ohtani, because he's not coming to the Midwest. He's going to stay in California.
Go get Marcus Stroman. Go get Lance Lynn. Go get
don't get Lance Lynn. He's cooked.
He's cooked.
He's so far cooked.
Get Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah.
Get Sean Manaea. Bring him back. Go get your boy Andrew Heaney.
Like if the idea is
Lucas Giolito,
if
can't beat him, join him.
If John Sherman is willing to eat $40 million, means willing to pay $40 million, I would rather him keep Salvador Perez, who can help you win because his bat will play, and just go get better players to add to him. That's my thing. That's my whole thing. If the Royals are going to trade and like make a big move, you trade one of your young guys. And that one, like right there, that might rouse some people up to be like, we're going to trade, and it depends, because those always depend. When you trade young prospects, it's iffy. But if they're going to want to make a splash by a trade, I'd rather be with a young dude than Sal, because they're actually going to get you something where it's worth it to take some time.
Coming up next, we will get to the mic drop. Fool, you look so sad. Oh, oh my God. Fool, I looked over there and you just look like your puppy died.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Fool, what's your mic drop? You're just sad.
Quick two-parter. One, Vegas Golden Knights are going to win a Stanley Cup tonight. It's going to be pretty awesome. That's going to make me happy. Part two, Jordan Lyles is no way getting a win tonight, and I'm so confident that if he gets a win tonight, lunch is on me tomorrow.
There we go. I'll take that. Let's go, Jordan Lyles. Nikola Jokic might have had one of the greatest postseasons in NBA history, and nobody notices. It's really incredible what he did. Led the points, rebounds, and assists. Incredible. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon. Coming up next, 580 Sports Talk.